Welcome to this week's Eternal Monday, where Mad Party takes on Gardevoir and Sylveon-GX in what can only be described as a bloodbath. So, to be frank, most three prizers in the Eternal format tend not to do very well, and I think this particular matchup is a pretty good demonstration of that. You'll watch Gardevoir and Sylveon try to set itself up, but it's just too slow, even as a basic Pokemon. I will say, if you have ideas for Gardevoir and Sylveon and something that might make it a little bit more competitive in the Eternal format, leave them in the comments down below, because it would be nice to make this deck work. But frankly, I'm not sure that it will. If you're new here, you might be wondering what the heck even is the Eternal format. In short, it is the unlimited format with a ban list. So this means the format features cards from the original base set all the way through to the most recent tournament legal set. Although it's an unofficial format, it's an incredibly fun format with a lot of rich deck building and gameplay experience to be had. If you're interested in learning more about the Eternal format, you can do so at justinbasil.com/eternal. Up first, we have Gardevoir and Sylveon-GX. This is, as mentioned in the intro, the tag team of our dreams. It has two attacks, one of which is called Fairy Song, that for a single energy searches your deck for up to 2 fairy energy cards and attaches them to your benched Pokemon in any way you like, and then you shuffle your deck. You also have Kaleidostorm for Fairy Colorless, which does 150 damage and lets you move around all the energy attached to your Pokemon however you like. Finally, it has Magical Miracle GX, which for 3 fairy energy does 200 damage and says if this Pokemon has at least 3 extra fairy energy attached to it, in addition to this attack's cost, so that's going to be 6 fairy energy, your opponent shuffles their hand into their deck and they just don't get to draw anything. They just lose their hand. Cards attempting to support Guardian are Garbodor with Garbotoxin, trying to shut off abilities on your opponent's side, Cessation Crystal that shuts off their Pokemon powers, Pokebodies, and Pokepowers, and then we have Dugtrio that allows us to shield our Pokemon from bench attacks, so that'll protect our squishy stuff like Garbodor and Macargo and Lapras. Maybe not necessarily critical, but it is in the deck. Macargo, if we choose to use it over the Dugtrio, because we can only use one or the other with us evolving from Ditto Prism Star, allows us to smooth over the top of our deck so that we're more likely to find the cards that we need to find. Guardian is a bit of a slow card, so having that set up on top of the deck each turn is very helpful. It also can help us with our max elixirs if we need it to, and put a fairy energy on top of the deck so that the max elixir is guaranteed to hit. Otherwise, the only real highlight in this deck, I guess there are 3 more. We'll go over all 3 of them. Fighting Fury Belt boosts our HP for Guardian by 40 and then ups our damage by 10. Fairy Garden gives us free retreat for each of our Pokemon with any fairy energy attached. And then Wondrous Labyrinth Prism Star increases the attack costs of Pokemon that are not fairy type by a single colorless energy. So we can kind of try to throw them off. Overall, Guardian, or Gardevoir and Sylveon, more appropriately, is an interesting deck that was very fun while it was still relevant in standard format, but might just be too slow and too juicy in terms of prize cards to be especially effective in the Eternal format. As for Mad Party, you'll notice this deck list is very similar to the United Wings list that we've seen in the past. It is very much constructed in a similar way, even has an almost identical supporter card lineup. The deck hits very, very hard. Unlike United Wings, it's not especially reliant on hitting for weakness. It just hits really hard. It has that extra attacker, that extra mad partier, if you will, to do the extra damage. And it does show up and it does matter a lot actually in these games. And there are 2 of them today, by the way. They're both very quick, but they do exist. Yeah, so Mad Party, basically the idea is put a bunch of Pokemon with Mad Party in the discard pile in various ways, and then do big damage because the Mad Party attack does 20 damage for each Pokemon in the discard pile that has the Mad Party attack. So you're using your double colorless energy to power Bunnelby, or if you have it in play, Poltegeist, and both of them will use the Mad Party attack to take knockouts. Everything else in the deck is pretty much there to make sure that you can get your Mad Partiers in the discard pile, whether that's Sycamore or Squawkabilly, which draws you cards, Battle Compressor, which searches your deck for 3 cards and discards them. Everything wants you to get those Pokemon in the discard pile. Mad Party is gotta go fast deck and hits hard once it gets there. And you'll see it can get there pretty quickly. Let's jump into the games. All right, as our players are getting set up here, we will look at the Mad Partier on the left and the Guardian player on the right. So this is game 1. This video and both of these games are going to be kind of a showcase of how Mad Party can set up in this format, and less, unfortunately, of a showcase for Guardian. But let's observe. All of those glaring Mr. Rhymes already in the discard pile. This player is saying, you know what? I don't like that guy. He's gone. 3 Detonate now also in the discard pile. Pretty good turn 1 from the Mad Party player, and just an attach dropping Wondrous Labyrinth and passing. That is not ideal for the Gardevoir and Sylveon player at all. We do see an evolution of Poltegeist onto the Mad Party side, discarding another Poltegeist to draw 2 cards, so get a Sky Pillar, and it looked like a double colorless energy. That Wondrous Labyrinth, unfortunately, not going to be putting in any work this game. the Guardian player trying to slow down the Mad Party or trying to force them to either burn an extra energy or just miss an attack altogether. Didn't work. Ultra Ball discarding another Bunnelby and a Faba. Getting another Bunnelby, pardon. So just kind of working on getting that discard pile built up for the Mad Party attackers. And getting Faba on the discard pile always is nice against most decks. Just 180 damage, not quite knocked out, but I don't think that's going to matter for the Guardian player. Unfortunately, there's just an attach and pass and a scoop. Nothing going on the Guardian side. Not great prize cards either. I don't know if you quite caught those, but a bit rough. We did have a second game, so we're going to go ahead and start up again. Mad Party on the left and Guardian on the right. Going to have a slightly better start, I believe, for the Guardian player this time. Guardian going first this time, which is unfortunate. Guardian really does want to be able to attack with Fairy Song, but not going to be able to going first. Throwing a Fighting Fury Belt on there to make sure that it's a little harder to KO. Forcing them to either run the Faba, or use the Faba rather, or do something else. Not letting them use a discard draw supporter like Sycamore. Do see already quite a few Pokemon in the discard pile there. Gonna see a Sycamore. Discarding a Poltegeist. Getting 7 fresh cards. Doesn't look like they've used the Squawkabilly yet. We do see an energy attachment on the active Bunnelby and a Battle Compressor. Getting 3 more of the Mad Partiers in that discard pile. Now up to 8. Computer search, probably going to find another Battle Compressor. Discarding 2 more Mad Partiers. That is disgusting. Oh, finding a Hisuian Heavy Ball instead. Going through the little prize cards. Getting a Sinistea. Not a Mad Partier, but all the same. Good to have in play. In a Parallel City. Gonna be dropped kind of prematurely, I think, but it's out. With another Battle Compressor. Wow. Another Battle Compressor, finding a couple more Mad Partiers and another Hisuian Heavy Ball will get it out of the deck. Whiffing the knockout on the Gardevoir Sylveon-GX, but it's a bit of a rough spot for this Guardian player. We see Fairy Garden coming into play, allowing Guardian to retreat for free. So that's something at least. We do see a Fairy Song finally from the Gardevoir Sylveon player, and 2 energies come down on the fresh Gardevoir Sylveon on the bench. Sinistea evolves up into Poltegeist, and we do see an energy attachment there. And yet again, now we're up to 13 Mad Partiers in the discard pile, drawing a couple cards off of Tea Time. That's Hugh coming off of that Trainer's Mail. Going to just be discarded, it looks like, with the effect of Quick Ball. And getting another Bunnelby into play, just getting it ready for some extra damage. Fairy Garden being discarded by Sky Pillar. And we get 3 prize cards on the Mad Party side. Pretty brutal. Do see a pair of energy on the active Guardian, but unfortunately no way it looks like to do much. Gonna drop the Wondrous Labyrinth and pray again. Hoping, Turo Scenario, not too bad. Losing the Fairy energy and the tool, but at least that damage is no longer in play. So now it's going to force the Mad Party player to either one-shot or give another turn for the Gardevoir Sylveon-GX player to do something. See the energy come down. And it looks like it's going to be a scoop. We do see Trubbish, Garbodor, and Lapras all in the prize cards for Gardevoir and Sylveon. An unfortunate showing for Gardevoir and Sylveon, but that is sometimes how it goes. The deck isn't always going to work, and sometimes our favorite decks just don't compete very well. And Mad Party is kind of terrifying. Maybe Gardevoir and Sylveon needs a copy of Karen. Just to kind of counter the devastation that is Mad Party or United Wings. But yeah, not too bad from both players, at least from Mad Party. Mad Party really going ham. It's interesting to see that style of deck just do so well, considering how easy it really is to counter, especially because Mad Party, unlike United Wings, is super reliant on special energy. It doesn't have access to any basic energy cards. So United Wings has access to darkness energy that powers up Murkrow. So if it has to go against something like Circuitry or Duraludon VMAX, it has a way around that sort of effect. It's not an auto loss against Honchkrow, for example. But Bunnelby and Mad Party in general is very reliant on those double colorless energies and on twin energy to keep attacking turn after turn to keep that momentum going. Even still, that doesn't really change the results of the battles today. Gardevoir and Sylveon was pretty handily defeated Like I said in the intro, if you have some ideas for Gardevoir and Sylveon-GX and how it can maybe be better and more competitive in the Eternal format, let me know. Say what you got in the comments. Maybe it'll be extra spicy and we can try it out in the future. Anyway, that's it for today's games. I hope you enjoyed them, or at least enjoyed watching Mad Party go absolutely ham. And if you happen to find yourself in the San Antonio area on February 10th, you can join us at Dragon's Lair at Alamo Ranch for the next in real life Eternal format tournament. Deck validation and registration begins at 11 with round 1 to start at approximately noon. As always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.